Okay.
Hi, my name is Deb, and I would like to share an author whose books I've read many of, and her name is Maeve Binchy, and she is from Ireland, but read, I'm sure, around the world, and particularly here in the United States. And she is quite prolific. I can't even tell you how many books she's read or written, probably 20 or more. And they all take place, most of them take place in Ireland, although there's a couple where she's sort of gone a little farther afield. One takes place in Greece that I've read. But they all have Irish people in them, well, particularly the ones that are in Ireland. But also some Americans appear in some of them as well. And one was made into a movie called Circle of Friends. Minnie Driver was the heroine in the movie. I don't remember any of the other actors, but that might ring a bell for some people. But that was based on Maeve Binchy's book by the same name. And she's written The Copper Beech, The Lilac Bus, Tara Road, Whitethorn Woods. And the reason I like her books is because she's an excellent storyteller. But I think where she excels in is characterization. You really get to know her characters very well, the way she describes them, the way they interact with each other. And for me, that's the best part of all of her books.
If you have the time, read the book, The Life of Glass by Gillian Cantor. It's a teen read, coming-of-age story about a young lady who has to deal with starting high school, dealing with the loss of her father after a brief illness, and how her family copes with it, and the loss of her best friend, who happens to be male, that she has decided that maybe she kind of likes after all of these years. There's so much more to the story, so many wonderful layers, that it is not just a teen read, and it has value for everyone, and I would highly recommend this.
James Patterson's Sale.
Yeah.
Don't bother reading it. Do not waste your time reading it. It has a serious plot flaw, big plot twist in the middle that's not followed through to the end that would have changed the entire premise of the book in the ending.
I would like to talk about the book called Krakatoa by Simon Winchester. I think it's Krakatoa, the Day the World Exploded. It's an excellent book about a true event that happened in 1883, and it is really well written, even for somebody who is not necessarily interested in geography, or geology and that kind of thing. There are pictures in it, and there is a lot of descriptive about the people who lived in the area, and a lot of facts that the fellow did excellent research. And I would just highly recommend this book for anybody who likes something that's nonfiction and a little bit different.
Okay, my name is Sonia Schreier Norris, and I work at the Library of Michigan. I started out in libraries at the Library for the Blind, and I did what I called genre jumps, where I would take books in a genre that I would normally never read, like Christian fiction or westerns, something that I'd never had any interest in, and then I would do some research, and I would find like the best of that genre, and I would read them. And so I decided to do westerns, and I was researching westerns, and I came across this series by Richard Wheeler about Barnaby Sky, and he has 2 wives. And I'm kind of interested in, unique relationship patterns and how people interact with one another and that kind of psychology. And I thought, wow, here's an entire series of novels written about essentially a polygamous marriage. And I thought, this is terrific. I'm going to start this series. So my husband and I read books together, and sometimes we listen to them on tape, and sometimes I read them aloud for us. But we've been through almost all of the Barnaby Sky books, and the latest one that we're reading now is the one that just came out called North Star, where the younger wife is feeling very sad about her child that got sent off to live with white men for an education, and so she goes to find him. And my husband teases me relentlessly that I read westerns because I'm not the type of person who read Westerns. I'm kind of highbrow, and my degrees are in English and women's studies, and so here I am reading about, fur trappers and traders and these typically male genre types of books. But I really like Richard Wheeler, even though he treats his polygamous family like there are no jealousy or time management issues. It's like, okay, jealousy and time management and polygamy, they all go together. It's like this, right? And he acts like there's no problem whatsoever. So it's done really poorly, but I can't help but think it's interesting. And so that's my favorite book recently, North Star by Richard Wheeler.
3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I got married, and my board members gave me a cookbook as a wedding gift, and I read that. It was a retro Betty Crocker, I think from like 1940, and it's funny because they showed like the modern kitchen. A lot of the information was useful to me. Some of it's the salad type I never do, but that just kind of got me started with the cookbooks. And then at my library, I run movie night, movie Julie and Julia, and it inspired me again to get back into my cookbooks.